Yes, Prabhu.
Krishna, we can start.
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैवं नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। शृण्वतां स्वकथा कृष्णा पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तना प्रद्यन्तस्तो हे अभद्राणि विदुनोति सुहृत्सतम्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवते उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी. So today I am going to provide an overview of 12th chapter of fourth canto. So as you already know that after hearing from his grandfather Manu, Dhruv Maharaj's anger subsided and he completely ceased killing the yakshas. He also uh, apologized to Kuvera because Kuvera was not happy with him killing the yakshas unnecessarily. So, hearing this, Kuvera was also very pleased and he praised Dhruv Maharaj and he also asked him to seek a benediction from him. Now, Dhruva Maharaj is a pure devotee, as you all know, and he was a very intelligent king. So he just asked that, please grant me a benediction that I may have unflinching faith and always have the remembrance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. After this, Dhruv Maharaj returned to his capital and he performed many great ceremonial sacrifices in order to please the enjoyer of all sacrifices, that is Lord Vishnu. So, as you all know that we perform these sacrifices for the pleasure of Lord Vishnu, and that's what Dhruv Maharaj did. He was also very respectful to the devotees of the Lord, and he was very kind to the poor and innocent. Thus, he protected the religious principles in his kingdom, and he was considered to be like a father figure for all the citizens. They respected him and they liked him in that way. So, in this way, for many years, he performed three kinds of worldly activities, right? In Vedas, it is mentioned dharma, artha, kama, uh, basically religiosity, economic development, and satisfaction of all material desires. So, he performed these activities. And then after that, he handed over the charge of the royal throne to his son. And in due course of time, he retired to the forest in the Himalayas known as Badrika Ashrama. Here, again, he performed great austerities and performed meditation, and so much so that he completely forgot his bodily existence. Thus, and he meditated on Lord Vishnu. Thus, he was in a complete trance and almost achieved a liberated stage. Once he was in that liberated stage, um, two Vishnu Dutas came, Nanda and Sunanda. They are confidential associates of Lord Vishnu. They came to take him in a special aeroplane which was sent by Lord Vishnu to take him back to Vishnu Loka. So Dhruva Maharaj, he took bath, he offered his obeisances to all the sages of Badrikashrama, and finally he departed on this plane to Vishnu Loka. But as Dhruv Maharaj was going, he remembered his mother and he was thinking, how can I go to Vaikuntha planet and leave my mother behind? So, but the Vishnu Dutas told him that don't worry, she's already on board a plane ahead of them. So she was already going to Vishnu Loka. Then, various demigods, as Dhruv Maharaj passed through the different planets, various demigods praised him and offered flowers to him. So he saw all the different planets while going to Vaikuntha. And so this is his story, and we can see that how Dhruv Maharaj qualified uh, from how he became qualified from a very small boy desiring a great kingdom to this stage where at the end of his life he is going to Vaikuntha. So we can see that people who are peaceful, equipoised, cleansed, and purified, and who also please other living entities, who keep friendship with devotees, and they are well wisher of everyone, they can achieve this perfection of going back home, back to Godhead. So Narada Muni also saw him when he was going, and there is another pastime we will hear in the upcoming cantos of Narad Muni preaching to the Prachetas. So it seems while Dhruv Maharaj was going, that pastime also took place. So uh, Narad Muni actually praises Dhruv Maharaj to Prachetas, and he chants his glory. So this is the basically an overview, and this pastime of Dhruv Maharaj is very important, and it is very auspicious for devotees. So just by hearing about it, we become purified. And if we if we take this narration to the heart and we try to follow his example, then we can get several qualities like Dhruva Maharaj also. So, but the condition is that this recitation should be performed without any professional motive, right? And then the reciter and audience will become perfect. So this is a little overview, but I also want to talk about some of the lessons that we have learned so far by this story, and that some lessons we will learn. So it's a long story, obviously, of Dhruva Maharaj, but if we were to summarize it, it is a story of how one goes from Sakam Bhakti to Nishkam Bhakti. That is a bhakti which is full of desires, to a bhakti where there is no desire left. So how one goes from mixed devotion to pure devotion. That's the story. And Dhruva Maharaj has done it, and he has shown us the path of how to take those necessary steps. So Srila Prabhupada used to explain on various occasions that when you have defined a goal, it is very easy to make a plan and take the necessary steps to reach the goal. But if you do not have a well-defined goal, how are you going to get there? So, for example, some people say that life is a big adventure. And if you ask them, where are you going? They will say, we are just having fun on this adventure. Now, an ill-defined goal can get you to many different places, and those many different places always end up with a pinch in the heart, which says something is missing here. And we have seen the example of Vyasdev. Uh, After writing so many literature, obviously all were spiritual literatures, he was still not satisfied, and because he had not glorified the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Narada Muni advises him to write this Srimad Bhagavatam, and finally he's satisfied. So this was his experience. So similarly, if we just keep doing what we like to do, then we may end up regretting, like Vyasdeva. And if you don't have a clearly defined goal, then you are not going to get anywhere. It is like just that row, row, row your boat song. You are just rowing your boat, but not really going to any destination. But we are very fortunate that we did not have to go through checking out different things. In the process of Krishna consciousness, we are getting a very clear sense of goal, that we have to become Krishna Parayana, or completely dependent on Krishna. And by this process, we will achieve perfection. right? We do not have to experiment with our lives or try out different things. There is a verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, 6th canto, chapter 17, text 28, which says, Narayan parah sarve nakutashchan vibhyati swargapavarga narekashya vapi tulyartha darshinaha. Translation: Devotees solely engaged in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayana never fear any condition of life. For them, the heavenly planets, liberation, and the hellish planets are all the same. For such devotees are interested only in the service of the Lord. And we will learn about an example in upcoming cantos where there is story of Lord Shiva and King Chitraketu, how Lord Shiva will glorify him because he was not afraid to go to hell or fall down to a lower species. So we should have the same mentality, right? Uh, and we should only seek shelter of Vasudeva Krishna. So the message of Bhagavatam is this unalloyed devotion, where there is no other shelter. So Srila Prabhupada writes in Nectar of Devotion that devotional service is exclusive when there is no other shelter but the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But we see in this world there are so many shelters, right? We seek shelter of our family, job, friends, money, so many things we take shelter, right? Uh, and there is example of Draupadi in Mahabharata when she was being disrobed in the assembly of Kauravas. Draupadi first sought the shelter of her 5 husbands. When they could not protect her, she sought the shelter of Dhritarashtra, who was at that time king. Then she reached out to Bhishma Pitama and so many other people, but nobody could help. Then she took shelter of her own strength. She tried to stop Dushashan from pulling her sari. So she used her hands, and when her hands didn't work, she used her teeth. And finally, when nothing worked, then she remembered Krishna, and Krishna came and helped her. So we can see that we try to take shelter of so many things, right? But when we get defeated everywhere, then finally we come to take shelter of the Supreme Lord, right? So instead of doing this, what we have to do is we have to pray to Krishna that please take from my heart all impurities and leave nothing but unalloyed devotion. So Krishna will hear our prayers and he might test us, right? That what if I give you some obstacles and see how you react? Is your mind going to change? Are you going to get angry, worried, fearful, sad, etc.? Or are you going to remain fixed in my devotion? That Lord Krishna will test. He will test our sincerity, the fidelity, the earnestness of the prayer. Is it we are just saying for the sake of it, or do we really mean it, right? So this is how we can get Krishna's exclusive shelter, right? So a person who has adopted complete unalloyed devotional service can uproot the weeds of sinful reactions from the heart with no possibility of reviving them, right? So we see that people do prashchit a lot of times or penance for some mistake they do, right? They will apologize or they will perform some prashchit, but then they end up doing that thing again, right? It's like breaking the law. People get punished and then after some time they break the law again. So this tendency of sinful activity is not removed by prashchita, right? You have knowledge that you should not do this, but that knowledge is not enough. We have to uproot the tendency, and the tendency is removed by unalloyed devotional service to Krishna, right? So chanting of the holy name, for example, it cleanses our heart completely. And then slowly, slowly, these tendencies will also be gone. Now, with this, I just want to summarize with few more things, and then we'll end here. That by Dhruva Maharaj example, we can see how one goes from Sakam Bhakti to Nishkam. He had a desire to get a kingdom, right? Not just another kingdom better than his father and his grandfather and great grandfather, right? But then he realized after having darshan of Lord that he was asking for such a small thing, right? So Narada Muni came and gave him the means of achieving this. Narada Muni understood his desire and he gave him the prayers to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Dhruva Maharaj was greatly moved by this gratitude and gift given by Narada. So we all have been given this gift, right? We are not son of a king or grandson of a king, and all the things that Dhruv Maharaj had. We are not as powerful as him. We are not as strong as him to be able to do such sadhana. But we have one gift that is common with Dhruv Maharaj, and that is we have the shelter of Guru, right? So those of you who have taken initiation, obviously you have a direct Diksha Guru, but even those who have not taken initiation, we consider Srila Prabhupada as our ultimate Guru in our parampara. Yesterday we had disappearance day of Srila Prabhupada, and you can see people had so much gratitude to Prabhupada. He has changed lives of thousands and thousands of people. So we have that thing common, like Dhruva Maharaj, like he had the blessing of Guru Narada Muni. We have the blessing of our Guru Parampara, right? We just have to take their message to heart, like how Dhruva Maharaj took Narad Muni's message and he took it seriously, and he went to forest and performed all the austerity, right? So ours is an equal opportunity organization. It doesn't matter what qualifications we have or what qualification we don't have, right? We just need to take exclusive shelter of Krishna and follow spiritual master's instruction. With this, we can also perfect our life like Dhruva Maharaj. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to speak. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evcha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for a very nice summary.
Thank you for the nice.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Nice one.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Nice summary. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for the nice summary. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu.
Thank
Nice
you,
summary.
Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.